I was asked to talk about lethargy with avoidant personality disorder. Um, Lethargy is not part of having avoidant personality disorder. However, it's sort of comorbid a lot, and there's quite a few reasons why you could be feeling this sort of like stuckness and living in a life walking through mud. Um, so, I highly recommend, suggest, implore that if you can relate to that idea, um, that you go through this list and try to knock it out and see um, if there's anything that you can change so that you stop feeling that way and stop feeling quite so like physically stuck that you are not able to do anything to make your life better. First and foremost, that's usually a symptom of depression, way more than avoidant personality disorder. So I, again, would strongly urge you, if you have symptoms of depression, to get that looked into. And I know this is like, wait, this is a chicken or an egg situation. Call a doctor because I can't call and do anything. If you want to throttle me for saying that, I get that 1,000,000%. If you are that bad off, if you are that low that you can't even, do anything for yourself, then most people, like I haven't met a one yet who is a true, complete hermit and did not interact with anybody. You might feel like you're not doing anything to interact with people, but you are. You're interacting in some way, which is probably draining you. It's probably keeping you stuck because you're putting energy into these people. So if that is the case, start cutting things out. And things that people would be horrified by, like, this is going to sound weird, but go look up the list of all the stuff they tell new parents of infants not to worry about, like, the first couple weeks until they get a handle on it. That's the type of thing. Like, I'm not saying just go be gross. I am saying actively, very actively conserve your energy, save it up on purpose so that you can make that call, so that you can go talk to your doctor, so you can do something. Cat's coming. I might get jumped on. Anyway, definitely do something about that. I know it sounds impossible. I know that sounds so glib to just say go do something about your depression. I'm not trying to be glib. I'm trying to tell you that no matter what your situation is and how bad it is, you can do that. You can do that. Now, you might have to make the choice to have, like, basically let everything else fall apart. You might have that might mean that you have to stop working for a little while until you can get to the point where you can see a therapist. But there are times when, putting everything else on hold is going to give you your whole life. You've got to learn how, if you have avoidant personality disorder, again, if you have traits, definitely go see a therapist, because you can get new coping techniques. And I know, again, I'm probably sounding glib, like, oh, it's so easy. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's possible. And if it's possible, then try. But if you have traits, then you can find new coping mechanisms, and you can find better ways to conserve your energy so that you're able to not live in an avoidant lifestyle. That's like a really disgusting turn of phrase that I want to throw on myself for saying. But seriously, It is possible. It seems impossible because you think that you've got all these plates and you have to keep them spinning and you can't let one drop. Oh, this is complete crap, because you know what? If the depression really gets a hang of you, and say you need to go into the hospital, or you get to the point where you're so suicidal that you actually make an attempt or something. I mean, you could die. That is possible. That is possible. The depression could get you that bad. So, and I'm stealing from Augustine Burroughs' great book that he wrote, something like How to Die or something ridiculous like that. He wrote this self-help book. It was great. And it's basically, that's exactly what it said. It said, if you're at that point, just drop everything as if you died and see if there's any way to get anything better in your life. Here he comes. Hi. Anyway, so I'm off on a tangent. I don't know if that's helpful, but that is probably the number one reason why somebody has who has lethargy, if they have avoidant personality disorder, is actually depression. And you can treat the depression. You might not be able to get rid of it. It's going to be harder to treat because it is a situational depression as opposed to a brain chemical depression. But you can treat it, and you can figure ways of managing it and making things better. And also remember that, depression will lift, and it will get better eventually. It's a pendulum. Basically, yeah. I mean, it's a cycle, it's a circle, there are so many different ways of describing it, but it comes and it goes. This cat. Anyway, it does. It comes and it goes. So, it will change. You won't be stuck there forever. It won't automatically get worse. That's number one. Number two, it could be that you're not realizing that you're limiting yourself and that you're sort of talking yourself out of doing things. And it might feel like, oh, I'm just not interested in doing anything, when in reality, or that, I can't get myself to do it. And you're thinking, I'm just being lethargic. No, you're actually talking yourself out of doing things. The avoidance is getting you, in a nutshell. You're letting it get you, which, you know what? That's fine. It's okay for you to let it sort of win. I mean, if you can even get 50-50 against, beating back the avoidant personality disorder and sort of having a realistic view of the world instead of one that is in whatever the opposite of rose-colored glasses are. I don't know what he's doing next. Anyway, so it could be that. The other thing is it could be physical, and probably the number one reason why you would get a physical reaction, that is lethargy. I don't know what he's doing. This cat. Anyway, is if you're medicating or self-medicating. There's, most medicines have side effects that will include, chilling you out. I mean, unless you're taking ADHD medicine, which is a stimulant, which actually, it's a stimulant that has an effect of chilling people with ADHD out. But basically, that's what all medicines do, is they numb some part of you. If you're taking any sort of, I'm not saying they're all completely bad. I'm saying this is a possible cause. And of course, if you are doing alcohol, or you are doing any other kind of what they call recreational drugs, again, yeah, that could be physically making you feel like crap, and so you don't want to do anything. It makes perfect sense. Or it could be that, you're not 100% healthy. or that you know, the massive irony, I've talked about exercise a lot, but the massive irony is that if you don't exercise, you feel like you don't have the energy to exercise, and when you do, you've got more energy. So it could be, you know, it could be that you need to go out and do something physical, even like a walk around the block, to make yourself feel better. This cat. Anyway, I should bring him up here so you see who I'm talking about, which one is bothering me. It's him. See, he's purring. But he's also wanting to play with toys, and it's like, stop it, cat. Anyway, oh, shake your head no. Okay. And I'm losing track because I do that all the time, about other causes of what could be causing it, the lethargy. But yeah, those are the biggies. That it is depression, that it is some sort of chemical, including food. If you know, certain foods that you eat will have that kind of reaction. Or if it is sort of lack of doing anything that is causing you to want to continue to do less. Plus, of course, then there's the big whopper, which is the sort of letting the avoidance have its way with you, talk you out of doing anything. Because believe me, that is always, always my first response to everything. Everything. Breathing, I swear, you know, is, oh, no, no, I'm not going to do that right now because, you know, I can't do that, or I'm not worthy, or I won't be able to do it good enough, or I won't be accepted, or blah, 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 blah. That is not true lethargy either. Because it's just not. And I would completely understood if you said, okay, this is the definition, and argued it back. However, you know, the way that I approach almost everything, it's not quite like I'm saying that I have multiple personalities, but almost. It's like there's the Avoidant Personality Disorder, which is a disorder, and it's right there, and it's like sort of a haze or a fog that covers everything. It's not accurate. Now, I mean, it's there as sort of like a way for me to protect myself, but again, the protection could actually end up doing more damage. A lot of time, it can. So, really, really, really be aware, and if it's at all possible, I mean, there's some people that are just like, okay, this is who I am, and completely accept. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm saying sort of argue the points with yourself. No, this is not coming out. This is not coming out. What I'm trying to tell you is that if you push back against these avoidant thoughts and say, okay, they're not genuine. If I didn't have avoidant personality disorder, I would not be thinking them. Therefore, those are avoidant thoughts. They're not accurate. They're not necessarily what I want, etc., etc. As much as you can, push back against it until you can really see, okay, this is the avoidant thought, and this is what I actually want to do. And then you can make a choice. And it takes practice, and it takes a long time. But, you know, okay, for example, these videos, which but I'm pushing back against it. I'm pushing back against all the probably accurate. See, I'll give it some leeway. It's probably some accurate thoughts, and pushing through it. And you go.